Hello guys, my name is Lars Stender. I am a writer from Denmark. I'm specializing in fantasy and science fiction novels. Today I'm here to read from my fantasy novel Mandigo and the Hellhounds. It's about a young lad who's becoming trained as a magician. If you want to know more about myself as a writer or my stories, you are very welcome to visit my website www.simon.net, or you can also visit my Facebook page, Lars A Stender. And if you are really into it, you can also go to my personal profile on Facebook, which is Lars Stender. So there are several opportunities for you out there. But today I'm going to read from Mandigo and Hellhounds. I'll be focusing on chapter 5 now. Chapter 5 from Mandigo and the Hellhounds. All the other clouds drifted steadily across the late afternoon sky, driven by the breezy southwest wind. Only the cloud above the glade remained still and continued to remain still. Mandigo had just entered the glade when he saw Greta standing in the middle of it, with one hand stretched towards the cloud as she supported herself on her cane with the other. She had her back to Mandigo, and was seemingly too preoccupied to notice him. Bellatrix was running around and playing with a young deer a bit further away. "Hi, friend Mandigo," she cried as soon as she saw him. Now 4 winters old, Bellatrix had become a cheerful and spirited little girl who saw Mandigo as both a friend and a big brother. She still got the two things confused, so she'd call him both. Mandigo greeted Bellatrix and approached Greta. When he was just a few steps away from her, she lowered her arm, and the cloud above had drifted along together with the others. Mandigo froze in the middle of a step and stared at the cloud, dumbfounded. "The art of keeping a cloud in its position in the sky, Mandigo. The power of your gift over material and ether. That is what today's lesson will be about. Welcome to the world of magic, Mandigo." Finally. Mandigo looked up at the clouds and tried to imagine what it would be like to stop them in their flight with the help of his gift, and make them hold their position in the sea of sky. "The clouds are still beyond your reach, Mandigo. We'll start with something a little easier," Greta said, and plucked some down from a nearby thistle. She threw some of the downs up in the air, stood for a little while, watching them drift in the wind. Bellatrix broke into the sparkling laughter. Greta lifted her hand so that her forefinger seemed to be pointing directly at one of the downs, that immediately froze and remained there in midair. She waited until the other downs had floated off and fallen to the ground, before she lowered her hand and released her magical power on the last down. "Now you," she said, and threw yet another handful of down into the air. "Reach out with the gift. Let it flow from deep inside yourself." Mandigo chose the down and lifted his hand, trying to catch it with the help of his gift. But it didn't really work. He could feel his gift reaching out like a fisherman throwing out his net into the sea, but the down continued to slip through the mesh. He cursed under his breath. "Relax, Mandigo. Try not to force the gift. Let it flow freely. Try combining it with the catching sign that I once showed you." Mandigo threw yet another handful of down up into the air and focused on one of them. Then he reached towards it with both his hands, but did not catch it. Instead, he tried once again to catch the thistle down with his gift and hold on to it. For a split second, it looked as though he was about to succeed. The down stopped slowly, and floated as though undecided, in the air between Mandigo's hands, only to fly again when as soon as there came a slight breeze. "Keep trying, Mandigo. Don't give up. It took me weeks before I could catch it down, and months before I could go over to bigger things. The most important thing is that you can feel the gift moving and reacting inside of you. The more you relax and give your gift space to bloom, the easier it will become." "You mean I need to let it go in order to hold on to it?" Greta smiled broadly. "Therein lies the very essence of magic. my dear Mandigo, she said. Mandigo lifted his eyebrows thoughtfully. He wasn't quite sure what Greta actually meant, but apparently he was doing the right thing, so it is just a matter of continuing. Greta began walking back to her cottage. Bellatrix resumed playing with the young deer and a couple of doves that had settled down on the glade. Mandigo threw a couple of downs once again up in the air. He breathed out and tried to let his gift loose. He didn't have much luck in the beginning. The downs floated away with the mild autumn wind, no matter how hard he tried to make them stand still in the air, whether he used the catching sign or not. Bellatrix came over and wanted to play, but he just got irritated and told her to leave. She got sad and went over to sit on a big stone to sulk. Then Mandigo got irritated with himself and nothing seemed to work. He dejectedly kicked an old withering branch lying on the ground. He had been in such a good mood when he came out here. Now everything was ruined. Suddenly, he heard a strange sound. He looked up to the sky and saw a flock of weird-looking creatures rush towards the glade. A cloud blocked the sun and a cold shadow penetrated the forest. Mandigo felt an inexplicable fear take hold of him, and stared dumbstruck at the terrifying winged creatures that came closer at great speed. They looked like big vultures or ravens, without feathers, and with bat wings. The next moment, one of them screeched loudly. End of chapter 5.